Good morning and welcome to this Aerospace Technology Institute webinar. My name is Paul Adams. I'm the Chief Innovation Officer here at the Aerospace Technology Institute, and I'm really pleased you can join us today to talk through and explain the new outline stage process of our strategic funding programme. We're going to spend some time walking through the new process and how it will run. We'll also have plenty of time at the end of the session for questions and answers. So please do think through those questions you'd like to ask us as we go through the presentation, which we'll come to at the end. As many of you will know, we at the ATI distribute grant funding on behalf of the UK government for the UK aerospace sector. And one of the things I really want you to take away from today is, as well as this new strategic outline phase that we are introducing, that there are lots of ways to talk to us here at the ATI. On our website, you can find reference to some of those, which include Meet the ATI sessions, which we run regularly online, tech clinics, where we can talk specifically about an applicant's technology and how that might apply to the funding programme, and many other ways to get in touch with us to talk about this or any of our other funding programmes. So today, as I said, we're going to explain a new outline phase, which I'm really delighted to introduce. It's a significant improvement, both in terms of speed and efficiency for that initial stage of applications for the strategic funding programme we run here at the ATI. My colleague, our head of programme delivery, Romina Davudi, is going to explain those changes to you and how that's all going to work. So with that, let me hand over to Romina and let her talk you through, and I'll see you at the end of the webinar for the Q&A.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's session, and thank you so much for joining today. So as Paul said, I'm going to talk us through some of the changes that we've implemented or are going to implement from 2026 onwards for the strategic program outline stage. So why change the strategic program outline stage process, and what is the case for implementing this new process? So basically, our objective for reviewing the first stage of the process for the strategic program was basically to evaluate the current process to deliver a faster and much simpler application process for our applicants, and also to improve efficiency in terms of how we deliver that first stage of the application process for the strategic program, and more importantly, to try and reduce the effort that our applicants have to put in to prepare an first stage application. So the way that we've sort of reshaped and redesigned this part of the process has been very much focused based on the stakeholder feedback, and basically since 2024 we have spent a lot of time consulting and engaging with industry to be able to get their feedback, their thoughts, and any difficulties that they have with the first stage of the application process. And as part of that, we have basically redesigned the EOI process, which currently is called EOI, and we are going to move to an outline stage, which I will explain a bit more in the coming slides. So we basically redesigned the process and the flow of the process and how it works. And we've basically simplified how the applications are submitted, the criteria, and also within the ATI, we have enhanced our digital and operational capability to be able to deliver these for our applicants. So in terms of the new process, we are moving away from a text-heavy application to a structured presentation and a Q&A session through a panel interview. We believe this will bring a lot of efficiency, and it will make the process more effective, basically, and will give us and the applicant better insight and clarity into the presentation and the project that they are going to submit to the program. Most of you may know that over the past 2 years, we have basically implemented the SME and the non-CO2 program process in the same way as we are going to move the strategic program to. So basically, they've been interview process for the first stage, and as a result of the moving the strategic program to the same process, we are aligning the same approach across all the 3 programs that the ATI is currently running. And also in terms of the implementation of this process and the approach we've taken, it's basically the approach and the preferred option that we have received from our applicants, which allows us to be flexible. It allows us to basically hear complexities from the projects that are being submitted to the program, and also to have that direct engagement during the assessment process when we are participating in the panel interviews. So what is the new process and what does it entail? So a lot of you will be aware that the current EOI process involves a 10-question written application that is submitted via IFS. That's basically Innovate UK's funding system. And it involves 9 EOI competitions per calendar year, and applicants receive the outcome of their application within 20 working days of the competition closing date. So with the new process from January onwards, the process will be through panel interviews with PowerPoint presentation from the applicants, and submission of these applications will be via the ATI website as opposed to IFS. And we are also introducing 6 EOIs, 6 outline stage competitions instead of 9, and that again gives the applicants the opportunity to improve their applications if they are unsuccessful the first time round, or basically take a bit more time to finesse and complete their application before formally submitting it. And one of the significant differences for the new process is that the applicants will receive the outcome of their application within 7 working days of the start of the interview panels. This is a significant change to how we are currently operating in terms of the first stage of the program. We are hoping that this will make a big difference to our applicants and the overall process of the program. And also the assessment criteria and the scope of the project that we are looking at is we've also updated it, and it's more relevant to the stage of the application and the program, which I will come on to a little later. So just in summary, the key benefits of the new process is that our applicants will receive the outcome of their application much faster, and it will be a lot less effort for applicants to prepare a presentation as opposed to a written application. And very importantly, it allows direct engagement between ATI and applicant during a panel session where we can engage directly with our applicants and understand complexities and sometimes nuances that exist within the applications to be articulated by the applicants. So in terms of timeline, so basically from left to right, so from the point that the competition opens to the point that panel invitations are sent, we do that within 12 working days. So basically when we receive applications, after the closing date, we do a scope check. And if your project is within the scope of the ATI program funding, then you will receive an invitation to basically participate to a panel where you will present your project. We've also allowed 3 working days of preparation time for our applicants, and this would allow applicants to prepare for the presentation that has already been submitted to the program. So basically the presentation has to be exactly the same, and hopefully that's a sufficient amount of time. And when we hold the panel interviews from the start of the week, you will basically receive the outcome within 7 working days the following week. So the scope and the criteria of the applications, as I said, we've also reviewed that to make sure that it's appropriate and proportionate to the outlined stage of the program and the process. So there are 2 elements to this criteria. So the first one is technology, and the second one is exploitation and market, which I will come on to. So the technology element involves 3 sub-criteria. So the first one is basically alignment with the ATI technology strategy and aircraft level benefits of the project. So basically what we would want to see is how does the project align with the ATI technology strategy, and what is the impact going to be on UK aerospace industry. We also would like to see the aircraft level benefits that the technology would deliver. This is in aspects such as improving costs, bringing efficiencies, and reducing weight and enhancing performance. And then in terms of technology ambition, so what the important point for us there to see in projects is what is the innovation step within the project, what is innovative about the project, and how does it compare to solutions that already exist on the market. Within an R&D project, obviously ambition is a great thing, but what we would like to see is whether that ambition is realistic and proportionate and aligns with the scope and the timeline of the project and the intended outcome. Another point to we'd like to see there is what are the challenges that the project is going to deliver, and what are the starting and end TRLs. So, for example, what is the starting TRL of the piece of technology or the work packages at the start of the project, and what would be the TRL at the end of the project once it's finished. In terms of technology approach, so this is all about how the project is going to be delivered. So what's important to us there is to see a defined and clear set of work packages with clear objectives and deliverables for each of the project partners. And then that would entail aspects such as KPIs, milestones, and risk management, and also any links to any other ATI funded or externally funded projects. So exploitation and market. So there are 2 sub-elements in this section. So this is business and market opportunity, and exploitation and route to market. So in business and market opportunity, what we'd like to see is for applicants to explain the market need for their particular technology, and if they have identified any users, and if they have consulted any end users in developing their project, and also demonstrating how their technology is competitive and has commercial viability in the market that they are planning on entering into. So exploitation and route to market. So again, this is an important criteria for us. So again, we'd like to see the exploitation opportunities that exist from developing this technology within the project, and risks and barriers to market entry. And also very importantly, we'd like to understand how the ATI grant funding would help mitigate this risk and support delivering the project. And finally, explanation on the route to market and how the technology strengthens the UK supply chain. So we'd like to see a plan on how, once the technology and the product is developed, how that the project plans to enter into the market, and what that route would be, and any barriers that have been considered and how they will be mitigated. So moving on from that, so in terms of capital infrastructure projects, so this is a new change in as part of the outline stage process. So previously, when we have received capital infrastructure projects, in our guidance, we basically asked applicants to engage with DBT to ask permission whether they can submit a capital project with 100% funding request. So we are changing that. So basically what we request from applicants is that if they intend to submit a capital project, they engage with ATI in the first instance, so that we can basically discuss and ensure that the application is suitable and ready to be submitted as a project to the strategic program. There are a couple of points that I wanted to highlight here, and important to consider for our applicants is that for capital infrastructure projects, applicants can ask for 100% funding. This is for academic organizations and RTOs, but when we receive requests for 100% funding in terms of value for money, that project becomes more competitive compared to other proposals where they might have secured private investment. So what we'd like to ask our applicants is to basically work on their application with us and demonstrate that they have considered and looked for match funding and capital investment from other resources in order to make their application more attractive in terms of the program. So we do have some guidance on our website, but there is also extensive guidance on capital infrastructure projects on Innovate UK's website. So I do encourage our applicants to have a look at that, but also, as I said, feel free to engage with us if you intend to submit a capital project. So the PowerPoint presentation criteria. So I'll just move my slide. So panel presentation rules and guidance. So there are two elements here. So in terms of the presentation itself, we haven't introduced a specific template for our applicants to use. We wanted to give the freedom to our applicants to be able to address the criteria that we are asking for in the way that they would see fit for their projects to do that. In terms of number of slides, you're limited to up to 15 slides, and if more than 15 slides are submitted, they won't be assessed because only the first 15 slides will form part of your assessment. Unfortunately, we cannot accept videos, animations, and external links in your presentation because they are considered external material and therefore are not permitted. So the panel presentation itself, the meeting, so they will be held only online via Microsoft Teams. And see, we have published our competition dates recently on our website, and you will see that we've also included the panel dates, and we ask that applicants make sure that they have availability on those dates, because we unfortunately cannot accommodate time slots based on preferences. So we ask applicants to make sure availability is there, and we only allow up to 5 project attendees per application. And again, during the presentation, the panel presentation, it's only the slides that we will have a look at, and we will ask the applicants to present to us. So any demos, paperwork, hardware, or props is not permitted and will not be assessed. And finally, recording and filming of the panel presentation or use of any AI transcription or AI tools is not allowed. So the agenda for the panel presentation involves 4 items. So 5 minutes of welcome and introductions. So project presentation is 35 minutes, followed by 20 minutes of questions and answers. And at the end of the session, we will ask applicants to leave the session so that the panel of ATI assessors can have a discussion about the project. So that part of the panel will be ATI assessors only. So as I mentioned just now, we have published the competition dates on our website for 2026, but just a quick summary. So as you will all know, the application process involves a 2-stage process. So stage 1 is the outline stage that we will be implementing from 2026. So 6 competitions per year, and each competition will be open for 10 working days. And the deadline for closure of the competition round is at 11 a.m. on the day of the closing date. And also, as I mentioned earlier, the applications are submitted via the ATI website through a PowerPoint presentation only. And if your project is in scope, then you will be invited to attend a panel presentation. And of course, the outline stage of this process will only be assessed by the ATI. And then for the full stage application, so this is a closed application. So organizations or projects who are successful at the outline stage will be invited to submit to IFS for their full stage application. And that part of the application is a written format. So it's a longer and more in-depth application process, and it will be assessed by ATI, DBT, and Innovate UK. So the tri-party will assess your application at that stage, including the value for money assessment by DBT. So in terms of the overview of the competition dates, as you can see there, so we have 6 outline stage competitions, and we will still deliver the 3 strategic batches, batch 48, 49, and 50 in 2026. So this is a summary of and an overview of the competition dates which is available on our website. So I do encourage everyone to have a look at the dates and ensure that applications are submitted on time before the deadline. And as I mentioned earlier, the deadline is at 11 a.m. on the closing date. And unfortunately, we won't be able to accept late submissions into that particular round of the competition. Support for applicants. So within ATI, we have many ways that we support our applicants. So I will go through them here. So the first one I particularly want to highlight is the draft application assessment and feedback for outline stage and full stage applications. So this is a very unique service that the ATI offers, whereby applicants can submit a draft application to ATI, which is assessed by one of our technologists, and you receive feedback on your draft on how you can improve your application before submitting formally. You can also follow that up with a draft application feedback meeting where you can discuss your feedback with our technologists. And our records show that applicants who engage with us through this process, their chances of success are much higher, just because they receive specific feedback for their particular application before they formally submit it. We also have the one-to-one ATI tech clinics, so via the ATI Hub, which again is a fantastic support that we offer. So basically, if you have a project idea that you want to discuss with our technologists to see whether it aligns with the ATI technology strategy, or sort of have that initial discussion, then you can register via the ATI website, and they do happen every Friday, so you don't have to wait long. And again, that makes a difference in preparation for your draft submission and formal application submission. We also have the ATI Toolkit, so where we offer market perspective and on assessment of individual technologies at aircraft level. So this is a great way to prepare for your market and business opportunity criteria of your application. So I do encourage our applicants to use that service and that support. And we also have the outline stage and FSA clinics that's delivered by my team. So basically, it's a guidance session where we explain how you can prepare a strong outline stage and full stage application. And finally, TRL guidance. So a couple of years ago, we published a TRL guidance from ATI. So we are aware that obviously there are a lot of various TRL guidance from different organizations. But what we wanted to make sure is to allow our applicants to align their projects with ATI's expectations and understanding of the TRL. And also just to highlight that all the links to the ATI Hub and all the support that I've mentioned here are available via the ATI website. So if you have any further inquiries, please obviously have a look at our website, but you can also submit inquiries to competitions@ati.org.uk, where we will pick up your inquiry and we will get back to you within 5 working days. We also have a telephone number for urgent inquiries that's obviously there on the screen, and it's also available on our website. I do encourage our applicants to engage and speak with the ATI via the support services that I just explained, and to make use of the support that we offer to maximize their chances of success with the ATI program. So I'll stop there. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll now hand over to Paul for our Q&A session.
Fantastic. Thank you, Romina, for explaining that so clearly, and it's a fantastic step forward for us as the Aerospace Technology Institute to make our outline stage, or introduce the outline stage, which will make applications so much simpler. We've been getting some questions in through the audience, which is fantastic, and I'm going to start to work through some of those now, but please do continue to submit your questions through the Q&A, and we'll do our best to get through as many of them as we can. So the first question, I think you've covered this mostly, Romina, but perhaps we can talk specifics. We've been asked about the best way of getting a quick review before submission. So you've covered a number of ways for people to engage with the ATI prior to submission, but what would be the best way for someone to get that initial review before submitting?
I would say the best step for that would be a technology clinic, a service that the ATI Hub offers. So again, if you have a project idea and you just want a quick overview of it and whether it aligns with ATI technology strategy, and before putting any effort and preparing a draft or full stage application, then yeah, a technology clinic I would say would be the best first step.
Fantastic. Thank you, Romina. And I think you're right to highlight during the presentation as well the fact that those organisations and applicants that engage with the ATI early in their funding journey tend to have a better result through the process because they've had more chance to receive guidance and feedback. Another question then on the panel for the outline stage. So you said within the presentation that the panel review process would be ATI only, but perhaps you could give a little bit more specifics to applicants or to those on the webinar as to who'll be part of the panel.
Yeah, sure. So the ATI attendees would include a chair and a technical co-chair. We will also have a technology assessor and a strategy assessor where they will look at the technology element of your project, and also the strategy assessor would look at the market and exploitation opportunities. We may also have observers who won't ask you any questions and will not assess the application, but they will be there to observe the panel. Because of the complexity of the projects that we receive in the strategic program, we may have supporting assessors attending the panel. Again, those would be ATI technologists, so there won't be any external people there. But we may have, in addition to the main assessors, strategy and technology assessor, we may have a supporting assessor that will attend the panel.
Fantastic, thank you. Plenty more questions coming in, which is great to see. Another one here on the presentation itself, Romina. I think we've said there's plenty of opportunity to engage. This person's asking specifically about receiving feedback on the draft presentation, so the slides themselves.
Yes, absolutely. So basically, similar to what we currently do. So the process for submitting a draft, instead of submitting a draft written application, you will submit your draft presentation, where you will receive summary of feedback and summary of recommendations on how to improve your application before submitting formally. So you will basically just submit your presentation. So it will be still a presentation format, not a written format.
Fantastic. And some questions, I guess, on the size of grants available and limitations, including TRL scope. Perhaps you can just expand a little bit about the strategic program, Romina, and the funding limits and TRL boundaries of that program.
Yeah, sure. So basically the TRL levels for the ATI program are typically between 3 and 6. However, we do recognize that for some projects, lower TRL activities are needed. For example, enabling technologies within a project to allow the TRL to progress from 3 upwards. So we do take that into account. Every project is unique, so please, if you do include a lower level TRL activities within your project, it's important that you justify and explain why that piece of work needs to take place within that particular project. In terms of the funding limits, so that's exactly what it is now. So we are not making any changes to that. So for capital infrastructure projects, the limit is £18 million for the total project, whereas for the strategic program, it's up to £18 million per organisation per application. So there's a big difference there. But again, the guidance is on our website, and again, we haven't changed any of that, so it's the same as before.
Absolutely. Thanks, Romina. And as you said, the guidance available on the website, but for those who ask that specific question, please do reach out to us via the routes that Romina's already highlighted if you have specific questions about your application. Perhaps a question then that I'll take just around, are there any planned changes to the SME program or the full stage application? So we are looking at the entirety of what we do here at the ATI. We've had a busy few years in terms of introducing the SME program, introducing the non-CO2 program, and now making improvements to our outline stage process. So absolutely, we are looking at those other areas as well. We're not in a position at the moment to expand on how and where we might make changes, but we are keen to make the ATI as accessible as possible, both through those early stage conversations that you can have and these outline stage improvements that we've already made, and then of course looking at those that full stage application process, whilst of course remaining and retaining the rigor that you'd expect of a government-funded program. So more questions coming through. Romina, perhaps one on kind of specifics of the presentation. Are backup slides allowed in the presentation pack to help answer any questions from the presentation panel, conscious of the 15 slide limit?
Yeah, no, unfortunately, backup slides aren't permitted, so it's up to 15 slides only. So the first 15 slides, whatever information is included in those slides, those are the things that we will assess your project against.
Can RTOs directly participate in the strategic program, or is an industry partnership required?
So if it's for a capital infrastructure project, then RTOs can lead at the project, but if it's for an industrial research project, then and a business has to lead the project, but by all means an RTO can be a project partner.
Fantastic, thank you. This one's very specific, but it's a good one to ask because it's likely to trip people up. When we talk about submitting via the ATI website, is this via a portal? Is there registration in advance required?
So advanced registration isn't required. So on the day when the competition opens, there will be a button on the apply for funding page on the ATI website. So it will be very clear. You will need to submit there. When you submit your application, you will receive a confirmation email that says we have received your application. What I would say is that on our website, we also have the draft outline stage application process and the button to submit the application. So I really encourage applicants to take care not to submit to the draft one instead of the formal one. So if you go to the ATI website on the closing date of the competition, the formal competition, and the formal submission button isn't there after the deadline, if you submit to the draft, unfortunately, we cannot accept that because that's the draft application, not the formal one. So it's something that I really encourage our applicants to take care not to confuse the two.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, as with all these things, applying earlier in the window is always better. So you're not rushing things, but also, we've highlighted lots of ways to get in touch with the ATI. If you apply early, you can always check that that's been received successfully. I guess a slight clarification question as well on the value of 18 million that you highlighted, Romina. So this question is there a separate process for grants bigger than 18 million pounds? I think you've been very clear that for capital investment projects, 18 million is the limit for the overall project, and that for the strategic program, it's 18 million per applicant per project. That means, as I understand it, Romina, a single project could go over 18 million pounds.
Yes.
But if a single applicant wanted higher than that value, they would need to make subsequent applications, which we do see through the program.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's definitely an option. But we also get inquiries if around much larger projects. If that's the intention, then I really encourage projects to speak with us and DBT and to have a strategic discussion to make sure that not only their application is ready for that level of submission, then but we also work with them to make sure that they get the best chance in terms of the expectations and what we would like to see in their application. So I would say if you are thinking that you will exceed that 18 million, then please do speak with ATI and DBT before making a submission.
Fantastic, thank you. I guess the message overall: keep talking to us throughout the process, pre and post. There's a good question here on timing. So I think we've talked about the absolute fantastic level of improvement of this outline stage that will give people that answer within 7 days. With the full stage application process, Romina, what can an applicant expect from a submission through to receiving kind of successful indication on the grant in terms of timeframes?
Yeah, the FSA part of the process, as I said, it's assessed by the tri-party, DBT, ATI, and Innovate UK. So when the application deadline comes and the competition closes, then the project is assessed by all the three organisations, and as you would imagine, it's a much more complex process because you have three separate organizations involved, but we do try to make that process as efficient and as fast as possible for our applicants. Then once we have completed our assessment, and DBT and IUK have also completed theirs, we have a program investment board where we make the funding recommendations and decisions to the ministers as to which project we would like to get funded. Obviously, DBT as the program owner are the sort of the decision-making authority on those, but that's how we make the funding decisions. And from that point, when we have the program investment board, within a week, applicants receive their outcome of their application. And for projects who have been successful, then they move on to the contracting process with Innovate UK. But for those who haven't been successful, then we would indicate the next steps for them, which in some instances would involve a resubmission to the FSA stage.
And I think it's fair to say, Romina, it's really important to highlight to people that with the introduction of this outline stage process, we will still run multiple funding rounds every year, so that if an organisation is unsuccessful, depending on the feedback, they will potentially have a chance to come back to the ATI with a revised proposal.
Yes, absolutely. So basically for FSA stage, if a project is unsuccessful the first time round that they've been to FSA, they do get a chance to resubmit to the full stage application without going round the outline stage again. So they get two chances basically.
Absolutely. Fantastic. Thank you. So last couple of questions before we close the session today. Then one very specific one. So you mentioned that the presentations can't include videos, Romina. Are animations okay? I guess people may want to use animation to demonstrate the way that the technology works. Is that something that can be embedded in a presentation?
Unfortunately not. So videos, animations, and any external links aren't permitted. So if you do intend to, or if animation is a good way of sort of explaining your project, I would suggest including screenshots instead of sort of full animation. But yeah, unfortunately, that's not permitted.
Fantastic, thank you. And I guess just to close this out, then it's worth saying that we are running the ATI conference next week on the 4th and 5th of November. Anyone who signed up to the webinar is very welcome to join that conference in the ICC in Newport in South Wales. And a question there, which maybe you can just expand on briefly, Romina, will we be available to talk about applications at the conference? The answer is absolutely, and your team will be there as part of that.
Yes, absolutely. So we do have an ATI stand at the conference. So my team and myself will be there. So please feel free to come and speak to us. I think we also have a system where you can book appointments with my team to speak and talk to them about the program. So if you are attending the conference, then feel free to make use of that service. Absolutely.
Absolutely, and I think it goes without saying that a huge proportion of our staff, including our tech team, will be there. So if you have specific tech questions, then again you can use that service to book or just turn up at the ATI stand at the conference. So I guess to close, we will of course be sharing a recording of the session with anyone who signed up to the webinar. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you, Romina, for sharing the presentation, but also fielding so many really good questions over the course of the last 45 minutes. As we've highlighted, there are many ways to get in touch with us at the ATI, so please do reach out if you have any other questions or if we've not been able to cover your question in sufficient detail during the course of this webinar. I really look forward to seeing what new applications we get through the process. We know that giving people quick answers to their funding questions really helps drive agility, not just in the funding process itself, but also in the organisations that are applying for funding, enabling them to be more innovative, to test more risky ideas with us, and from our point of view, hopefully to fund some of those more innovative ideas that help both drive the UK aerospace sector to be more competitive, but also drive down the emissions of the sector overall. Thank you very much for joining us today, and look forward to seeing you all again soon.